So if we look at the corporate services, it means providing the best possible service and contribution to the setup of the new programs in terms of industrial policy and contracts, but also in evolving, adapting these processes to the new context. So it's really important that we have more flexibility, more speed. We work, of course, time to payment, but also time to contract. And it's essential that we can respond to the diversity of programs across ESA. And if I look now to the programmatic part, that is the commercialization support, which will be a new program called Access. There, the idea is to support the newcomers, the new companies, essentially the startups or SMEs, from the first idea to going onto the market. So this goes, for instance, with the Phi Labs, supporting the creation of new ideas, then the incubators, allowing to mature these new ideas, accelerators to further mature the idea into a prototype or something equivalent, also access to private financing. So we have the investor network. Then we have support to the development of new services and applications. And finally, bringing the products, the services, the applications to the markets with our marketplace, which brings together customers and suppliers. It's really a turning point for Europe and its industry, especially in terms of competitiveness. There are many things that we can see. First of all, the competitiveness of European space industry is at stake. There are less accessible markets, and even on the accessible markets, we are losing our market position. We were at 60% of accessible markets 20 years ago. We are at 33% today. Of course, there is a changing context as well. I mean, we have a war in Ukraine at our borders, and we also see that there are many more actors and competitors all over the world. So it means that we are increasingly challenged. I think also the context is changing even within Europe. We know that there could be a merge among the three main actors, the main, let's say, primes, Airbus, TAS and Leonardo, which would completely change the situation in European space industry. So yes, this is a turning point, and more than ever, ESA programs must be able to support the competitiveness of industry, and more than ever, the, let's say, ESA regulations, processes, ways of working must adapt, must be more flexible, faster, more agile. Space industry needs new programs. So all the programs that will be decided will help industry's competitiveness. And I would say also there will be new programs, new markets, which need to be supported. And if I go now to CIC, we have the Access program, which is exactly about supporting innovation and commercialization across industry and across all sectors. So I believe it will have an important impact. Another aspect where CIC will help the competitiveness at the CM25 is the evolution of procurement and industrial policy. We already have new contractual tools which will further be strengthened, and also quite an evolution of industrial policy, in particular geo-return, towards more flexibility and also the notion of fair contribution. So also the time to contract, time to payment, and generally, let's say, the biggest agility is really important for the competitiveness of industry. I think it is estimated that the citizen uses some 40 satellites per day, of course, without knowing it. I would say, of course, if we look towards the industry world, entrepreneurs, innovators across Europe are particularly concerned by CIC and Access program when it comes to space. But beyond that, there are new applications and services that are of direct relevance to all the European citizens. Just for instance, in mobility, we see that we have many new services using satellites which really help us in our daily lives. Also in what I call more public services, and there I would like to quote, of course, disaster management, which are so essential for the daily lives of our citizens. And also another dimension which is important is the socio-economic impact of space programs, because these programs support growth, support the creation of new jobs, but also, I believe, have an inspirational value. I would just like to quote two examples very close to my heart. One is called Melissa. It's a closed-loop system for recycling of water, which was initially created for the International Space Station. And now we all see how important it is to recycle water. And Melissa is used in terrestrial places, such as, for instance, the Roland Garros tennis tournament is using it during the tournament, or there are other buildings, including the headquarters of ESA, which use this system. Second example is Rosetta. Rosetta was an ESA mission that ended up, we've managed to land on a comet. It was in 2014. And for this mission, we had an instrument which was assessing and studying the chemistry of the comet. So it was instruments that were kind of sniffing the comet. Well, these technologies have terrestrial applications, both in the perfume industry, sniffing, of course, but also on submarines. The British submarines use this technology to monitor the quality of the air in the submarines. The way I see the future of my directorate is to continue to support the competitiveness of industry. And there it ranges across a number of, let's say, aspects. First of all, we need a very diverse ecosystem. So small companies, startups, SMEs, but also mid-caps and large system integrators. Then we also need a healthy mix between established companies, I will not say old, and new companies, because those feed each other. We need also a repartition of companies across Europe. And we need both upstream, developing new infrastructure, downstream, developing new services.